per hour. And I don't think it's allowed here, but let's say that you are going above the speed limit. What do you need? You need to better sense and respond, because otherwise you can make an accident. Now let's go and make it a bit more extreme. Now if you want to participate in a Formula 1 car racing, and to meet a guy, you know, there is a famous guy named Michael Schumacher. He is the Formula 1 driver. By the way, he retired last year. And now we want to go to a race with him. So we need to drive probably 300 kilometers per hour and more. We are not able to do it. I cannot do it. I don't know, maybe somebody here can do, but I cannot do it. But what do we need in order to drive so fast? We need to have skills and knowledge. So we are now in a Formula 1 car racing. Our business, it's like a Formula 1 car racing. In order to basically be successful in our business, we need to much better sense and respond to what's happening in the market. And for this, we need to have the skills and the knowledge. Otherwise, we're not going to be successful. And basically, what Clarizen will do for you, it will take you to an ability to move from a monitor and control way of running business to run the business in a way which is adaptive and dynamic. And I just have a quote at the bottom from Darwin, Charles Darwin. He basically had the theory of the evolution. And what he's saying is as following. It is not the strongest that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change. So the people that can be responsive to change, those are the people that can be successful in the new way of doing business. Okay, what's the benefit of on-demand? Basically, on-demand stands for SaaS, S-A-A-S, which is Software as a Service. So with SaaS, you don't need to install software. You don't need to have dedicated hardware. You don't need to have a dedicated IT team. You can use it instantly, and you don't need to do upgrades. You have seamless upgrades, as opposed to licensed software, which you need to do all of those. Now, it sounds like a dream. You know, no upgrades, no hardware, no software. But in fact, the change between on-premise software to SaaS is bigger than what was the change between Unix and Windows. This change is huge. It changes the way that company works dramatically. And there are some other big advantages in the SaaS. And one of them, it has a built-in collaborative architecture. Imagine yourself that you want to partner with somebody in China. So you have a built-in collaborative architecture within the hosted site because you both work on the same environment. So it's very easy for you to collaborate if the software facilitates collaboration. Second point, it's really empowered the individuals. It gives the individuals a much better ability to play a role within the software, to participate, to be a part. And third point, it gives you an ability to have community live knowledge. And let me just give you a small example here, or maybe two. I don't know if you know what spam is. Spam is when you get an email spam, an email that you don't want to get from advertisers or whatever. So there are companies, for instance, that are doing anti-spam. They make sure that you will not get the email that you don't want to see. And how do they do it? They have a server somewhere, and all the emails that are coming through are going first of all to this server, and then they block the emails that you don't want to see. Now, imagine yourself that you have a company like this that has thousands of customers. Now they can serve all the customers in a much better way because once that they caught a spam email, it will not impact all the 1,000 customers that they have. So if you are connected to a SaaS provider of anti-spam, It's enough that they will get one email and then it will be stopped for all the customers. So it's a very efficient way to have knowledge around spam. The same goes for bank transactions, for instance. So if there is frauds, people that wants to steal your money from your account through the internet, so there are companies that will monitor all the transactions. And let's say that if they have 100 banks as customers, it's enough that somebody will want to steal from one bank, it will solve the problem to all the other 100 banks, which is totally different if it was installed in all the banks. Then this thief could have made this attempt 100 times to each and every bank, because it would take time until the other bank will know that there is a problem. So the SaaS opens up huge opportunities, and of course in the area of project management, and I will explain it later. Why now? We all remember that there was an attempt called ASP, which was giving the ability to have a remote server. But I think that now is the time for SaaS, as SaaS is not a remote server, is one-to-many application. So there is one application server that can serve hundreds or thousands of customers. So it's much more efficient. You don't need to have a server per customer. You can have one farm, one server, 2 servers, 10 servers, but they can serve thousands of customers. So you get a very efficient IT operation. And I think that nowadays, relatively to what was 7 years ago or 10 years ago, there is a much bigger internet awareness. I think that the bandwidth has improved dramatically. I think that the server architecture is much better. And the operating system fits to run SaaS with the load balancing and all what it means. And customers are ready to accept the fact that their data is located remotely. We have a lot of examples. One of them, of course, is Google, with the Google Gear suite, which basically gives an application beyond the search in a SaaS model. We have Salesforce. Salesforce is a very successful on-demand company doing CRM. They started a little bit less than 10 years ago. They are now at the valuation of about $5 billion market cap. Huge company, very successful. NetSuite, doing ERP on demand. Very successful US company. And Amazon. So overall, the SaaS market forecast is huge. This market is going to grow from 6 billion in 2006 to 90 million in 2011. So it's a huge market. Now I want to tell you maybe another story before we go into the offering that we have. And I want to ask, what happens when technology is disruptive to business model? What do I mean? What happens when somebody developed a technology that is not just better than the other company? It's changing the business model in the market. So we've seen many times, for instance, there was software developed in Unix, and one day Windows was strong enough and many enterprise applications developed software on Windows. This has totally changed the landscape, because Unix was sold through direct salespeople, very expensive salespeople, and Windows is being sold through indirect channel. So it's a different business model, it's a different cost, and of course the prices are totally different. And I have here some example. I would just mention one of them. The PC. If you remember, there were companies named Digital. Who knows Digital here in the room?